I want to hear like a crazy fight story. Is there anything that like your most memorable fight or something like that? Something that, yeah.
In regards to like a moment in a fight, it's just like, for me, the craziest ones are like when you get hurt. You know, you're out there.
Yeah.
You know, I've broken my hand a couple times, so it's like you come back to the corner, they're telling you instructions, like keep throwing the right, and it's just like I can't throw it, man. Like,
Please welcome Adam Sister, are you mad, fam?
Tables turn, bridges burn. No scrimmage practice games, gotta live and learn. Speaking negative before they even hear the verse. Claiming that they didn't dig it, but who did it first?
Factory made and that's solid precision. You know my verses like paintbrushes for every vision. Born in 9-6, but if we hitting, no, I'm never snitching. Live in a time when kids trapped in a cellular prison. Get it? Cell, prison, y'all cooked in your mom's house. We flaming up Hell's Kitchen now.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Now or Never podcast. Today we're in the Burlington Training Center in Burlington, Ontario, just west of Toronto. Thank you to Sherry, first of all, for letting us use the facility. And today we have a chance to sit down with the champ himself. 15 wins, 6 losses in his professional fighting career. And introduce yourself, man.
Adam Maverick Asenza.
All right.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of
no
course.
problem.
Thanks for coming, man.
Hell yeah.
So first, we're going to get into your history of fighting. So when did you initially start fighting? Like, how did you fall in love with it and all that stuff? Just
Basically, like, everybody's heard this story because it's a big question that most people would ask. But
Yeah.
you know, I got in a lot of street fights growing up.
Okay,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
I was a gymnast. Like, I was a gymnast growing up, like a national power tumbler and doing that sort of thing. So, you know, it was easy to get in fights. So I got in a lot of fights, you know, because of that. And then when I quit training, basically I was like, I'm so used to training 16, 18, 20 hours a week. I got to do something. And then, you know, I got brought to an MMA gym and right away I was hooked.
wow.
So how many years has it been now since you got in the ring?
About 10 years.
Yeah.
10, 11 years, yeah.
By street fights, what do you mean by that? Like, was set up, or was this like just,
No,
just
like,
stuff that happened?
just,
like,
you know,
situations?
bars.
Do you have a crazy story that you could tell us, like about a street fighter?
It depends.
Either there's none or there's
That
too many.
depends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't, you know, like, it's just weirdly street fighting. Like, you know, something happens, you know, you're at a party when you're younger and
Yeah.
like, you know, whatever, you go there, you know, you have an issue, you fight the guy, or like you're at school,
Yeah.
you know, something happened on the weekend at a party and a guy's coming from another school, you know, word spreads like wildfire. And by the end of the day, you're walking out to the smoker's pit to scrap somebody from another school, like that kind of stuff, you know, like it's
Back then,
just basic young, you know,
High school
basic
stuff.
trouble that kids get into, you know,
Right,
that
right,
kind
right.
of thing.
back
Yeah.
then, were you known as that guy? Where like, yo, don't mess with that guy. Like, you know what I mean?
Not really, because like, I mean, you know, back then it was just like, you know, a fight was like 2-3 punches. So, you know,
Yeah.
and I had no formal training. I was just super athletic, right? So, you know,
Well, yeah, being a gymnast, yeah, I would imagine.
it's crazy because like I look at things now or I hear things now. Sometimes like my younger athletes will come in here and tell me about a fight that happened and whatever. And like when I was young, it was like, if you have a problem with the person, you either it's on site or like whatever, you set it up and you fight, right?
Yeah,
Now it's
yeah.
like people are getting stabbed.
It's different
People are
now.
bringing weapons everywhere. So
People
it's
are
like,
tweeting each other back and forth.
yeah, they're tweeting
meet
each
me
other.
at
Yeah,
this.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
crazy.
They come with 30 guys at a time. It's never one-on-one anymore.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, when I was growing up, we used to hang out at it was a theater back in Vaughan over there.
Yeah.
And every Friday there would be just a huge crowd of people. So it was obviously a recipe for disaster.
Right.
And there wasn't one Friday that went by where there was like 30 guys on one person. Like it's every Friday they're just getting absolute shredded. It was terrible, man. But
Yeah, same type of thing. Man.
yeah,
Just typical.
That's personally why I won't fight anymore. Like if something goes on, I'm leaving.
It's not worth it. But when you're young,
Yeah.
you know, you don't
Yeah.
think very far.
Right.
You know, it's just, it is what it is.
So, I actually have a question for you. So, you have a. Would you say you have a passion for fighting?
Definitely. I definitely
Okay.
love what I do, you know.
So, how does someone? Can you explain? Because, like, for example, I have a passion with music, right?
Yeah.
Like a passion for fighting. How, like, what's the type of feeling for that? Like, what's the reason why you love it?
That's a big question, because the thing is this, right? It's like if you play hockey or you're a goalie in hockey, right? Personally, for me, I would never stand in a net and tell, you know, somebody who's been playing hockey for most of their life to take a slap shot. I would never do that, right? But then people are like, how do you get in a cage and fight? but it's like it's kind of the ultimate test. You know what I mean? Like besides all the training, besides all the moves, besides all the things that are involved to get ready, the other half of it is like mentally, you need to be prepared, confident. You need to know how to like, you know, deal with things that come up, feelings, so on and so forth. So once you kind of get into that, it's like you get obsessed because it's like you're thinking, okay, well, how can I make this better? Or I'm weaker here. How do I get this stronger? Or this guy threw me off when this happened last time. How do I fix that so I don't get surprised this time? It's kind of like...
It's like chess.
It's like chess, but you start it and you just become obsessed with it. That's the only way I can explain it. Right?
Would you say you had like a passion from the start? Or was there like a certain point, when, like maybe a year in, that you were like, I love this. Like I'm...
So I was, for me, I'm like an athletics guy, right? It's always been like fighting and fitness, you know? And so from the start, I was just, you know, sick of doing what I was doing, but I needed to train something else. And then UFC started to get big then. That's when I kind of got introduced to it. You know, I remember like years earlier watching like pride fights with like my uncles, and like, those were the ones in Japan, like in a ring, right? So I'm like, oh, I want to try this. And it's, you know, I need to do something because like I'm not working out anymore like I was. So that's kind of how I got into it.
Yeah.
First time you stepped in the octagon, did you feel comfortable? Or was it kind of like something you had to get
nerve-wracking? Or
Yeah, like it was definitely nerve-wracking. You know, it's funny because I took a fight, you know, I was training at a gym and nobody was fighting at it. And I kind of had hooked up with some guys when I was living out in London. And they're like, hey, man, we can book you a fight. So I booked my own fight.
Oh, nice.
I went out there. I had a couple guys coaching me that I was training with at the time. And then when I got there, they're like, oh, your opponent changed. And I'm like, okay, well, who am I fighting? And they're like, you're fighting this guy. And I'm like, okay, well, how many fights is he? I was like, oh, it's like 1 or 2. And I'm like, yeah, I'm making my debut. Never fought before, like, you know, whatever. So I'm looking at the card and I'm like the second last fight. Like, this is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Whole night goes on. Again, it was like an amateur card in like Michigan. So there are like 20 fights on there. I walk out. They announced me fighting this guy who's like 9-0, like Division I wrestler. I'd never fought in a cage or even trained in a cage before. I didn't have any wrestling. I think I was doing like, training MMA for like a year, but I didn't really do jujitsu till like a month or 2 before the fight. So it was interesting for sure. But that's like, you know, that's kind of like how that went. So a little nervous, but it is what it is. You're there to fight.
Was that on purpose, you think? Like, did they try and like screw you up?
I definitely didn't sell any tickets, right? Because I was from the Canada. So I drove out to the States. They're like, this guy sold all the tickets, so we'll give him this fight because his fight fell through. That's basically what happened.
Okay.
Right? So definitely on purpose, but...
Based off what you just said there, you said because you were from Canada, so back then, obviously, I'm guessing Canada wasn't big at all in fighting. Like, they weren't really
like this was,
people.
Again, this was, you know, 2010 or something like that, 2011. So pro wasn't even legal here, and there's no amateur.
Yeah.
So we went out there to fight because like Michigan, there's like pro, amateur. It was a big scene out there. So when we went out there, it's like how many people are going to drive to Michigan? At the time, for my first fight, I'm not looking to sell a ton of tickets.
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, well, this guy's a co-main event, so we'll give him this guy.
Yeah.
It's kind of like just what promoters do, I guess. And that's
How did that fight go, if you don't mind me asking?
Honestly, I almost knocked him out a few times, but
nice. Okay.
I had no idea how to wrestle. Never really wrestled before. He was just basically double legging me, taking me, slamming me. So like every chance that I could stand up, I didn't know how to like you know, the thing is that when you're in a cage and you're leaning against the cage sinks in.
Yeah.
There's all these things I never knew about, right? So I'll basically just get up, and when I could get up, I would hit him with some shots, hurt him, and then he would take me down again.
Wow.
And I lost by a split decision because, you know, in the third, I kind of got off on him and was able to land some big shots and kind of swayed the judges a bit, but I lost.
What was the weight? What was the weight like? Were you guys at least like the
same weight?
Okay,
same weight. Yeah, it was lightweight. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Wow, that's crazy, man. So actually, let's talk about the mental preparation of getting into a fight. So what's a ritual for you, if you even have any? First of all,
what's
a ritual, like a pre-fight ritual? Do you have any or?
Not really.
No?
I mean, you just need to always be thinking about how things are going to go and things that could come up and things that might surprise you. And that's the biggest thing, right? Like when you're in the zone, that's when you perform your best.
Yeah.
So like things that can keep you out of the zone, you know, getting hurt by a punch, maybe, you know, fighting in a new area where like maybe the crowd's like, you know, aggressive or like, you know, just things like that, right? Like you just got to plan for everything.
Yeah.
So
me going to your first fight, that was the first fight that I ever seen in my life.
Yeah, see.
And shout out Claudio for showing me and even introducing me to you. It was a crazy experience for me. And my question to you is, when this is a funny question, but when someone comes out to like a crazy song, does that get you nervous? Because I don't know, for me, some songs were like more scary. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, but it's just
One guy had
like, you know what I'm saying?
one guy with the jean booty shorts.
Yeah.
Do you know who that is?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. What was his song? I forgot.
It was like a softer song.
I
but
mean,
like,
and he lost too. So I was just like a double.
does the song have anything to do with like even going on that mental preparation? Does that affect you in any way? Like in the beginning stages, maybe not now, because you're like,
Well, it can. Like, I mean, like, personally for me, like, I don't, like, if I'm fighting the dude and the dude comes out after me or something like that, I don't even hear his song, right?
Yeah.
But, like, it just depends. Everybody's different. Some guys never had a song, so they just switch their song every time. Some guys like to be, you know, kind of like have goofy songs because it calms them down. So they always pick something stupid. You know, like, for me, like, I just use the same song because it's just like, when I hear that type of beat come on, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to fight. So I just keep it the same.
What do you come out? I wasn't at the fight. What do you come out to? What's
I come
your
up
song?
to 6'7" by Lil Wayne. Just
Yeah,
the beat, it just gets me excited. I'm ready to go. So
Yeah. What's the story behind that actually? Like how did you choose that one specifically?
yeah, so I never chose it. I had I think I chose I can't even remember the song now. It was a Tupac song. I think "Picture Me Rolling" or something.
Oh, okay,
That
yeah.
first fight that we were just talking about.
Yeah.
And then the DJ switched it on me and put that on. And then like ever since then, I was like, all right, I'll use that.
Okay, so
like
is that a superstition now? Like if that's not playing when you're coming out, do you feel like
It's not a superstition. It's just like something that I don't even think about.
Okay,
But I
I see what
have
you're
like I
saying.
fought in different parts, of the world and stuff, and I give them. They're like, "Hey, what's your walkout song?" I give it to them, and then they change it up on me anyways.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's
Oh,
just,
yeah?
yeah.
Really?
It happened
they
a couple
do.
of times. It's happened a couple of times. Yeah.
when you're in the ring, right? There's obviously a lot of hecklers from the crowd. I was at the fight too, by the way. I saw it.
Wicked.
Fantastic.
No,
fight.
yeah. I think I met you
fantastic
after.
fight. There's a lot of hecklers from the crowd. There was one guy specifically who was screaming at the top of his lungs the entire time.
Show me a video.
Like the court, like the one of the guy's corners had to tell him like shut up and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
When you're in the ring, do you hear anything?
Yeah, I hear everything.
Oh, you hear
Yeah.
everything.
Some things are selective. It depends what's going on.
Yeah.
But like I definitely hear the crowd and stuff like that.
Because there's some fighters that say like, obviously when you're locked in and you're
Yeah.
focused, right? It's almost like there's nothing else going on.
Yeah.
But then you do hear like, because the thing is, when I'm watching UFC, I don't know if the fighters are actually paying attention to their corners. Like, are you actually taking the what's it called?
like notes. Like,
Not the notes. Like
if I'm close enough and I can hear his corner telling him to do something, I'm like, okay, perfect.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
listening for sure.
Yeah.
But so how does that work then? Because you're able to see his next move, right? So like
Yeah. It just depends what it is, though. It depends what they're telling him to do.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I'm in a good position and I'm on top of him punching him or something,
Yeah.
and they're like, grab his arm, like it's not going to do much.
Yeah,
but
I see what you're
sometimes
saying,
it's good to hear these sort of things, right? It just
Yeah.
depends. It's selective. Like I hear my corner over everything,
Mm-hmm.
and then if it's going my way, and obviously like things are good and you're relaxed, you're gonna get other things like bonuses and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
What do you consider to be like your strong suit? Like, from what I see, like, is it like by straight like striking, or is it on the ground?
Or like Muay Thai, Jiu Jitsu, like
Yeah,
wrestling.
I like to strike, but nowadays you got to be well rounded. You got to be good at everything.
Yeah.
So like I'm just working my butt off, making sure I'm good everywhere.
who do you think changed that narrative?
What do you mean?
Like as a fighter, who changed that narrative where you have to be like all around?
Just that's how MMA has been evolving,
Yeah.
right? Like things come up now that like you wouldn't even think is a thing. Like like if you look at an MMA fight, cage wrestling, like wrestling against the cage is
Yeah.
basically its own sport. Like you know, and if you're not in a if you're not don't understand what I mean by that, it's like so obviously you strike in the cage, you can like throw punches, kicks, elbows, whatever. You can clinch the guy, meaning you can grab him and throw him or punch him, elbow, knee him, right? And then obviously you can wrestle in the open, so you can shoot from like far away and take him down or trip him if you're clinched up with him.
Yeah.
But there's like a set way now that when you're against the cage, you can literally wrestle guys in using the cage.
Yeah.
Where like you maybe grab one leg, make sure that his weight is distributed against the cage, and then you can use trips, takedowns, pulls, all these different things.
Yeah.
So like it's kind of its own sport. So it's always evolving. So you got to be studying, watching every fight, seeing what's working, what's not working, evolving your game. It's a full-time job,
No,
Yeah, no,
I can tell just by again just even witnessing that last fight. It was crazy. And another question to you is, going into that fight, was there a moment where did you know 100% what you were doing? Did your plan switch at any point? Did you feel like at any point that you're maybe slipping at any point or no?
No, I mean, I felt good the whole time, but it just, some things always surprise you, right? Like, you know, I thought for sure I was going to have the advantage wrestling, but he had some really good wrestling defense. So I kind of like was really trying to take him down at the beginning when I should have just went back to striking, you know? So it's like, oh, fuck. Now I'm a little tired.
Yeah.
Like now I'm going to, you know, play this game a bit better or, you know, do something else, right? So
What's more tiring, grappling or striking?
for me, grappling,
right?
For me,
I would say
grappling. If you ask a grappler who like specializes in taking guys down and submitting them, they might say striking's more tiring for them because they're just comfortable on the ground. I've been striking a lot more than I've ever been a grappler, so like I'm more comfortable striking, but I'm trying to be good everywhere, right?
Yeah. When you first started, right, you had I guess striking was your
like I was
your
just
game.
pretty much.
Have you ever done a boxing match?
No, but I've been, you know, I've had them planned, and then I had one planned, and then I broke my hand in an MMA fight, the fight before the boxing fight, so I had to pull out. But I definitely want to do that for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, big time.
Is it a huge difference in your opinion, like boxing, MMA?
Yeah, definitely. Like the boxing is obviously you can just use hands,
only,
which is you know basic. But the other thing is like there's so many different ways to use your hands. Whereas MMA, it's nice to have those boxing skills, but if you're trying to set a guy up for too long, he can just grab you. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit different. It's like, you know, I had it explained to me once by one of my training partners, but he's like, MMA is shoot wrestling. You throw shots and then you fucking go for a takedown, basically, because you know that's the best way to describe it.
Yeah. Can anybody be a fighter? Because there's a lot of people who say like, oh no, I could take him this and that. There's been many instances where I've seen on YouTube, especially where there's like a street fighter that wants to challenge a professional MMA fighter, and they get absolutely fucked. So like, I'm just wondering, can anybody be a fighter? Is this something that you have to have innately?
Yeah, like in my opinion, anybody can be a fighter, but like in that scenario, the YouTube guys got no training. You know what I mean? Like, and you know, if you take a guy who's like super slow and long, that guy would probably be awesome at wrestling and jiu-jitsu and, you know, be able to use his jab from a length. Take a guy who's like short and explosive. Maybe he's better shooting for takedowns. Like it just depends, right? Like I think anybody can be a fighter, but you got to like figure out what style is best for you and how to blend the techniques together. And it just depends on what you're doing.
There's just a lot of aspects to it. I don't think people even understand what it takes to actually be a fighter.
No,
For sure.
That's crazy. Yeah.
They can just throw
How
hands.
did you get your name Maverick?
Oh yeah,
my
that's a good
God.
question, yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of a stupid story, but basically, so the amateur guys that I fought for in Michigan, one of the promoters, I seen him like a few months later after like my first 2 fights or something like that, and I looked like I was like really skinny because I was getting ready for another fight, and he's like, look at this Maverick. He's like, he's dropping down like a weight class, and then like. I don't know how, but it just stuck. Like a couple of those guys, he started calling me Maverick, and a couple of those guys started calling me, and I hated it at first. Yeah. I was like, what do you like? Why do you even call me that? Like, oh, you got like a baby face, like Tom Cruise, like, you know. I'm like, oh my God, like Top Gun is like what he's relating it to, right? So I'm like, shut up, man. And then just kind of grew and kept going, and then you know, after a few years of that, you just kind of get used to it. So I was like, oh, I'll go with it.
So I have a question as well. So regarding records, like your wins and losses, right? Does that matter? Does that dictate how good of a fighter you are? Because like I hear stories where like guys are like, I don't know, like 12-0, and then I'll hear and someone will tell me, yeah, but they haven't fought good fighters, and that doesn't really count. How does that dictate if you're a good fighter or not? Like your record?
Yeah, that's a good question. It depends. Like the old school boxing kind of premise is like build up your record, get to like, you know, whatever, I don't know, 15-0, and then start fighting super tough guys. Cause like you got to build experience, right? Like you got to fight all the types of fighters that are out there. Like people think like, okay, I'm going to go train and get good and then fight guys. But it's like, you want to fight a guy who's super fast, super long, super good timing, you know, so on and so forth. So that's basically how it works, right? So, but the problem is though, is that like these guys are trying to, the issue is like, they'll build up their record to like 10-0 and fight like very low level guys. And then they'll try to go fight in the UFC, or like they'll get like an option to maybe Contender Series or something. And they'll fight a killer and then get smoked. Right. And then now you got one loss, and it's like, it's kind of, people kind of see through your whatever you were trying to do.
That's kind of like the Kamzat fight this weekend.
Oh yeah, I seen that.
Because Gilbert was like the first actual challenge, and you obviously watched the.
Yeah, no, I definitely watched it. Thing is though, is like Kamzat still did really good. Like,
I know he did.
And Gilbert's like a world class champion fighter. Like
that's what I'm saying. He finally had a challenge for once. Like they took him. It was 5 rounds, right?
Yeah, no, it was three.
Oh, it's 3?
3, yeah.
Oh yeah, it was 3. Yeah,
Yeah, it was 3, yeah.
That was the first time anyone's ever gotten past
No,
the first
for
round.
sure.
It comes out, right?
For sure. The thing is, though, is that
That's
like,
crazy,
you know,
man.
champions have tough fights, but
Yeah.
they win the fights because they're champions. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
Like, Khamzat's definitely good for sure.
People were saying that about Sean O'Malley, the Sugar
Yeah.
Sean, like because he hasn't really fought anybody like super challenging, but he's got this hype over him. Because wait, he's like, what's his record? He has 1 loss, I
Yeah.
think. Forgot
Yeah,
his
one,
record.
it's
but
one loss. Yeah.
to Cheeto Vera, but I think he hurt his
Yeah,
ankle
but he
in
doesn't
that.
count it. Whenever they say his record on before he fights, he goes
yeah.
like this. He does
Yeah, yeah.
like a 0.
Yeah.
Well, that's also because he's kind of a businessman too, because it's not even just about the fighting anymore, right? You have to sell tickets,
Yeah.
right? And that's essentially what they
At the
want,
end of
right?
the day, man, money follows attention.
Yeah.
So if you don't have any attention on you, you know, people are not going to give you no money. Nobody
Yeah.
wants to see you fight,
See,
right?
that's
So-
the crazy thing, and it's crazy that it applies to even fighting, because that's like the music industry as well. Like
Same,
you have
yeah.
to have the hype,
Yeah.
you have to have the
Yeah.
clout. It doesn't even matter how good you are.
Yeah.
It's just crazy, like how things are moving. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But-
But you know,
It's a
it's like that in business though, in
Yeah,
general, right?
yeah.
You know, you have you're selling jackets, you're selling shoes, you have a law firm, anything. If you don't have attention on you, nobody's gonna know about you.
Yeah.
So they're not gonna be able to flow you. You know what I
No,
mean?
even the
So-
fact that they have to like actually believe in your brand, right? Because,
Yeah.
for example, like you mentioned a jacket. If I have a Canada Goose and then I go manufacture the exact same jacket, but I don't have the Canada Goose patch on it, right? The attention is not spent to me; it's spent to them, right?
Right.
Just because of brand.
Right.
So when you do make it to the UFC, will you be able to? Will you be a showman? Is that who you want to be? Like, do you want to be a showman in the press's eyes?
Wait, sorry,
let's say?
to add to that also, what do you have to do what are the steps to get into the UFC, like to get there?
Yeah. So which question you want me to answer first, boys?
That's
1 and
it.
2. 1 and 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
The thing is, for me, like I've always been a showman.
Okay.
Like my coaches kind of get upset at it because like I'd rather throw like a flying kick and like
Yeah, I
you know
saw
rip
that
Which you
wrist.
did.
Yeah, that
Which you
was
did at the
nuts.
last
Right,
fight.
right.
Sister, are you mad, fam?
Tables turn, bridges burn.
But I mean, I kept it like pretty, you know, strategic in that
Yeah.
fight. You know what I mean? But my previous fights like are usually I'm throwing some spinning stuff or some flying stuff, and they're like, you know, just stick to the game plan, man. Like, you know, we can get this fight done a lot quicker if you just do what we're doing. But it's just
Yeah.
kind of, I get excited and, you know, so I think my style is tailor made for, you know, the bigger audiences and stuff
Right,
like that.
right.
And then in regards to getting there, it's just you know keep beating tough guys, keep winning, and keep making it as exciting as possible.
Yeah.
That's it.
What about shit talking?
Yeah, it depends. Like if it's
It's a part of the sport now, I feel like.
for sure, but
No,
I mean,
it
you
has
know,
to sell
like,
tickets.
you know, the shit talking. Like for me, it has to be authentic.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So
yeah,
if the guy's a dick, like I'm gonna shit talk him, or if he does something stupid or says something dumb, absolutely. But like you know, if the guy's like super respectable and you know just the utmost, like you know, the last guy I fought was from Japan, super honorable
Yeah,
guy,
yeah.
really
Yeah, yeah.
respectable.
Yeah.
You know, tough competition, like great guy. Like I don't know, I don't got nothing bad to say about him.
Yeah.
Do
know what I
you
mean?
do you ever like shit talk in the ring? Like, cause like I just feel like it'd be hilarious, like just to throw them off mentally. Like you know when they're on the ground and they're on the ground for a
Just
minute,
looks like they're whispering
and just
in each
say,
other's
yeah,
ears
just say
and shit,
whisper
yeah.
like the weird.
Yeah, do you guys talk to
Like,
each other in
Yeah,
the ring?
definitely.
Oh, you do? Okay, yeah.
In the fight, it happens all the time.
Like,
For
do you ever
sure.
like laugh? Like, what if the guy says something like funny? Like,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. It's
No
things-
way.
It's like when you're in there and you're going. Sometimes it's just like you know you just go with the flow.
You have a specific story you can tell us? Like that
Man,
you would remember or no?
I fought in Tennessee, and I was fighting like the champion of this organization, and I don't know if it was the guy's like brother or who it was, his buddy in the crowd, but like literally like we're halfway through the fight, and I hear it's a 5-round fight, so a little longer. So I'm on top of him, like punching him, and I hear somebody in the crowd, like they're actually right behind my corner. I brought him to my corner, and I hear somebody like, "You can't lose it. This guy's a fucking model. You can't lose
Oh,
it."
yeah, that's the
no,
story
that's
we're
literally
talking
the
about.
guy.
He starts.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't from.
Oh,
that
no,
fight.
but it's in
It
Tennessee.
wasn't
He
from
said
that fight. It was in
Tennessee.
Tennessee,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I don't know who this is, but I'm laughing. I'm like, this is fucking hilarious. And the guy on the bottom, he's like, yeah, fuck, I can't lose. And it's just like, and I'm like, he's kind of talking to himself, but it's just like, my corners are right there laughing.
What?
Yeah.
And then so they're just, all right, keep hitting them. And then
Please tell me you
it.
won that fight.
Yeah,
you?
I did. Yeah, I
Okay,
did.
good.
Yeah,
Did you hear that guy, by the way, in that last fight that was like screaming like
Yeah.
I
I
yeah,
heard him.
yeah.
That
What did
guy
he
was-
say?
That guy was
Your
hilarious.
his hair. It's because of Ferrero's signature.
Oh,
You're
you're
like,
lying. He was literally saying you have a better hairline than Drake. Like he was just
that
the
guy
fuck?
made the show, bro.
That's hilarious.
I don't know how his voice didn't go. That guy, he literally yelled from start to finish.
That's awesome.
Unbelievable, man.
Okay, so BTC. People that don't know, Can you explain what it is? What are some other Canadian leagues? And yeah, can you give some information about
BTC
that?
Fight Promotion is an Ontario-based promotion. They're the only ones, out here that are consistently doing shows, consistently building things up. There's a few good promotions out in Alberta, a couple other parts of Canada, but for the most part, there's not many.
So how does this work? They like the different promotion companies like house different fighters, and then you
Basically,
guys all
when you're selling fights,
Yeah.
you got to sell the local people.
Right.
You're not going to get people flying in to watch somebody fight, right?
yeah.
So they basically have, whatever area they're in, they'll build up their guys in that area. If they have, luckily they have a couple good talented guys in that area, and they start building up the card. And once they start making money doing that sort of thing, they can fly guys in, or depending on what the stature is of the fighter.
Yeah. And how far do you think BTC can go? Because I know you guys have grown quite a bit in the
BTC Fight is the only one in Ontario, even this part of Canada, that is consistently doing shows, good shows, putting on good shows, bring guys in from other countries.
Yeah.
So, the sky's the limit with them.
That last event, even just like the experience walking in, it felt like I was going to Scotiabank Arena.
impressed. Yeah, I
you
was
know what I'm saying?
impressed,
It was crazy.
How many people were in attendance there?
I don't know, man. I don't pay attention to these things. You got to ask them to crunch the numbers, but it was full when I walked out.
Yeah,
So-
no, I want to hear a crazy fight story. Is there anything that your most memorable fight or something like that? Something that,
There's a bunch, man.
How did it feel when you won the title? What about that?
Oh, it felt great. It was good. To be honest with you, usually the camp is harder than the fight. So when the fight goes according to plan, it's definitely good. In regards to a moment in a fight, it's just for me the craziest ones are when you get hurt. You're out there. I've broken my hand a couple times, so it's you come back to the corner. They're telling you instructions keep throwing the right, and it's just I can't throw it, man. It's done. They're keep throwing it, and you got to go out there and kind of make adaptions and figure out my game plan maybe was to strike with this guy, and now I got to kind of figure it up. So those are probably the crazier type fights.
No, 100%.
Right.
And you guys are making those quick decisions right on the spot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or do you have backups beforehand?
So, yeah, I don't know. It depends. You try to prepare as well as you can before you get into the fight.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just gotta fucking go a cappella. You gotta go off the cuff.
Yeah. What are weight cuts like?
The worst. That's the hardest thing of fighting.
Yeah, for sure. Right?
The weight cut is the hardest fucking thing.
Yeah.
With fighting, in my opinion, it's the fight is the fun part. Fighting's fun to me, right? So
That's kind.
I want to do that. So cutting the weight is the fucking worst. I can't eat certain things for weeks before. I gotta watch how many calories I'm getting in, and then once I get to the weight that I want to be, I gotta cut 10 to 15 pounds of water.
Yeah.
It's the
Oh my
worst.
God.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
Do you think is that the hardest part?
That's the hardest part.
That's the hardest part?
That's the hardest part.
That's crazy.
100%.
Yeah, literally, that's what every fighter says.
Yeah.
Because you guys have to do the sauna suits and
Exactly.
Sweating
Sauna
out a
suits,
ton of water
baths.
and
Yeah,
then-
you got to sweat out, 10 to 15 pounds. The thing is your body's never, the same every single fight camp or weight cut or sometimes the camp goes amazing.
Yeah.
The weight cut's tough. Sometimes the camp's, tougher on your body.
Mm-hmm.
You don't got to cut no weight though. It's just you're super light. It's weird.
Yeah.
Have you ever not made the weight cut?
Man, there's been a couple close times
Yeah?
for sure. I've been a pound over, but they do give you a pound allowance most places.
Yeah.
So there's that. But yeah, it's man, I've been in the hallway running it off with some garbage bags because maybe my scale was a little bit lighter. And then I get on the actual official scale and I come in a pound heavier or point something heavier.
Yeah.
And they're about to start the weigh-in, so I'm just doing a workout again, basically dead out in the hallway.
Obviously, this is a dangerous sport. Does it ever worry you at times? Anything could happen. Does that ever worry you? You get hit a wrong way or you hit somebody a wrong way. Does that ever worry you or no?
that's the risk you got to take.
The thing is you just can't think of those things when you're in the fight. You obviously want to take care of yourself. You should know enough about whatever concussions or things that can happen. But I don't plan to do this for a real long time. I plan to make my mark and do what I need to do. Right. So.
So yeah, even getting onto that, what's the long-term goal of?
The goal is UFC, man. That's where I need to be next. I need to be, getting a fight in the UFC. You know, give me a shot. I'll show you what I can do, and then we'll go from there. You know, that's the plan.
How would you get the attention from the UFC though? Is this just something that they have to like reach out to you, or
For the most part, like basically, you just got to keep winning fights.
Yeah.
Make them be impressive.
Yeah.
You know, be somebody that they would want to sign, and you know, hopefully, you know, they'll come to a show in Canada.
Yeah.
Or, you know, they'll need somebody short notice, and, you know, I'm their guy.
because I was under the impression that your last fight would be the last fight in this league until you potentially go to the UFC, or is this kind of like you just don't know yet?
You just don't know, right? Like, I mean, they could, like, I've had guys, you know, training partners and, you know, people that I train with that have been in my same position and so on and so forth, and maybe even with less of a win streak, and they get a call short notice because, you know, the UFC needs them short notice, right? So it's just like there's a whole bunch of different things that can happen. There's factors, and I don't know all of them. You know,
100%.
We do what we can.
Yeah.
Your brand, and just regarding that, is there something that you want to move into? Because I know like you do the modeling thing. You sponsor some brands. Is that
And your whiskey, right?
Yeah, so the brands
just gonna
are my
say,
thing right now. You know, I definitely, for me, like I said, my thing's always been fighting and fitness. So, you know, besides the actual fighting, I have like a fitness app, and you know, it's like I have a lot of online clients. You know, everybody uses it here. My athletes use it. So I've always, you know, been pushing that, and that's something that, you know, has really been big to me, and you know, it's just great to be able to help as many people as I can. Because, you know, when you're a trainer or you're training teams or you're training athletes, you basically can only go hour by hour.
Yeah.
Right. So sometimes, you know, I feel like I could help a lot more people with, you know, my strength conditioning and therapy background. And so the app allows me to do that, which is nice. Another thing is I got a protein supplement coming out.
Yeah.
You
Maverick,
know,
is it Maverick protein?
Maverick protein. You know, it's infused with CBD, which nobody's done before. I haven't seen it done yet. You know, and you know, for me, you know, being with my background in fitness and obviously being a professional fighter, you know, always being hurt and stuff, like the CBD just made sense.
Yeah.
So I'm working on things like that, and then I've got great partnerships with you know, Maverick Distillery and the Barn Burner whiskey, and I'm just trying to keep it growing, man. You know, like I'm trying to keep growing the brand. You know, creating that awareness and you know, just having fun doing what I love to do, which is the fighting and fitness.
And we've been seeing, and again, it's an honor to have you on here as well.
Appreciate it.
You know, we saw the Vogue.
How was Vogue?
how was that?
I saw you on Vogue Italia.
Congratulations on that, by the way.
Thank you.
How was that
That's
experience?
a big Italian thing, bro. Like, no, that's crazy.
Yeah, we're all Italian here.
Yeah, we're all
That's
Italian.
That's hilarious. Yeah, so I didn't think that was gonna happen. It's just you know,
And that was shot in Italy?
no.
They shot
Okay.
That was actually shot in Toronto.
Okay.
And it was for like a suit company, Christopher Bates. Like, they got phenomenal suits, a little pricey, but they're wicked. And so I did a shoot with them. And then I guess like that shot came out and they liked the shot, so they submitted it to Vogue Italia. But I think, like, I heard Vogue Italia gets like 1 million submissions a month or something like that, right? So they got to go through a ton of guys. So, like, you know, the guy that submitted it, he's like, oh, I've been in Vogue Italia like 5 times out of my whole career, and he submits to them all the time apparently.
Yeah.
So when that happened, it was kind of shocking. Definitely a feather in my cap, you know. Something that I like, but, you know, for me, my main focus is just beating guys up, you know, like just fighting,
for sure.
you know. So that's just some extra on the side, right?
I feel like it's almost a good thing. Like, people might underestimate you, but they're
don't
gonna be
let
like,
this
oh,
soft face fool you.
They're gonna be like, I'm fighting a model, you know, and then you kick their ass. You know, that's
By
it.
the way, do you have to tell people that you're an MMA fighter? If any, like, for example, you go to a bar, right, and someone picks a fight with you, like, do you have to let them know, like,
Pretty sure, no?
don't do this, or?
I don't fight outside the cage, man.
No, I know
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. No, I'm saying, but have you ever
You have
had
to
an
warn
instance where
somebody.
someone has, like, tried to start something with you?
I don't tell them nothing. I just stay out of trouble. You know, I don't really go to the bars no more.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just, you know, I fight in the cage. I fight for money, for a paycheck. You know, if anybody has a problem with me,
Yeah.
you know,
write a check.
they can come to the gym, sign a waiver.
Yeah.
They put up $500. I'll put up $500. You know, we can do it. You know,
No,
it's gotta be done properly. I don't fight in the streets. You know,
No, straight up.
About
Not
the money.
anymore.
No, you made a good point. Yeah, it's either for money.
Yeah.
If anything, that's what you can tell them.
Yeah.
Be like, listen, man,
Yeah.
I fight for money, so I'm not gonna waste my time.
It's just, you know what, like, you just got to avoid situations like that.
yeah.
You know, so.
I had a few questions for you. Okay, one, I wanted to ask, who was your like inspiration growing up? Like, did you have like someone you looked up to, like as a fighter that you looked up to?
So it depends. It changes, right? Because like guys have all like, I'm a big boxing fan. So,
Okay.
I definitely I'm a Mike Tyson fan. I got to throw that out there. He's just his mentality, the way he does things, how impressive he was. Like, there's never been anybody like him,
Never.
And, as I move along in my career and, I start to look at guys that are a little bit better at marketing themselves and, making it more of a business and just making smart decisions and stuff like that. Like, you got to look at Mayweather. You got to look at the money team and the things that he does.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he
Just
also
things
backs
like
it
that.
up. Like, he has the marketing on point, but he also backs it up with his
Right. And, he's a phenomenal boxer too.
Yeah.
But, I'm more of I like to see knockouts. I like to be, exciting fights like that. So.
Okay. Well, another thing. So I wanted to ask, who's your top 5 of all time and currently right now? Do you have a top 5 MMA or boxers that you look like right now that you would say is top 5 in the world?
Yeah. So,
and of all time. I
So
guess.
I'm going to mix it. I'll do some boxers and I'll do some MMA
nice.
fighters too,
Okay.
right? Because I don't really have a top 5. So for boxing, you got to put Tyson as number 1.
This is all time.
Yeah.
You're saying,
Not
okay.
Ali?
All
It's
time.
Tyson?
I don't know, man. I'm definitely a fan of Ali. He definitely
Yeah,
changed the
yeah,
sport,
yeah.
phenomenal. For me, it's like an exciting thing. And
Okay.
I'm going to go some boxers and MMA I'm going to finish last.
Okay, go for
So
it.
I'll do 5 boxers, 5 MMA.
All right.
So Tyson,
Yeah.
Sweet Pea, Penel Whitaker.
Okay.
Just because he's so elusive, he's so slick, he's so smooth.
Yeah.
Ali, Marvin Hagler, and let's throw Mayweather in there. Why not?
Okay.
And then for MMA, I'm gonna go more favorites over what's going on right now. So let's go with I like Rampage Jackson.
Okay,
Probably
yeah,
in
nice.
the Pride days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to go with Conor McGregor just because he's smart.
Best marketing in
Best marketing, yeah.
the business, yeah.
Khabib, Vanderlei Silva, just because I like his aggression. He doesn't fight no more, but pride guy.
Yeah.
And
Adam Asenza.
definitely. Adam
There you
Asenza's
go.
number 1, but you're asking me about other guys, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then I got to go with John Jones just because
Okay.
I just like his
it.
style. He's able to mix things in.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's good. I'm surprised you didn't throw in Canelo.
A Canelo?
Yeah.
I honestly like Canelo, but
Yeah.
you're saying top 5 ever.
Okay.
So I got to go with some of the greats. Some of the old school guys for me are the best.
And what if you're going to say
and
right now?
Yeah, right now you can throw Canelo in
Were
there.
you a GSP fan?
Yeah, I like GSP. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure.
Yeah, no, definitely GSP fan. But
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it's just you got to be exciting. You got to have all the factors.
Yeah, it's personal. Yeah, personal preference for sure.
100%.
Yeah.
The Conor McGregor one though. That's what I was talking about in terms of being a showman. So
Right.
when you do get into the league, and I'm saying when because I'm manifesting it for
Absolutely.
you because when you do, I'm putting a parlay in. And you need to hit it all for me, man. I'm gonna be there. You gotta hit that parlay.
If you're making money, we got to make
Hell
money.
yeah.
to make money too, you know
Hell
what I'm saying?
For sure.
But when you do go in there and you do have to deal with the press, right? Are you willing to do that type of stuff? The banter, the showing up in
I'm just gonna do me, man.
You're just gonna do
I'm
you.
just gonna
Okay.
do me. So it's if that's how I'm feeling that day, and there's something going on, maybe my opponent's egging me on, then I'm gonna act how I act. I'm not gonna do. I don't fake things or put on a show. I'm just gonna act how I act. Everyday me.
Yeah.
No, you seem really focused, man, and I'm excited to see what's next for you, man. Honestly, I'm excited.
Thank
And I'm a supporter. We're all
I
supporters.
want to see you fight. I didn't
yeah.
get to see the last one.
No,
You
it's
gotta
okay.
come to the next one, man.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
We were actually gonna do this thing after the podcast was over.
Is it possible?
I wanted you to try to take because you can take me down.
Sure.
I'm saying I wanted you to try to take me down, and I want to try my hardest to defend it.
Right.
Which is not gonna fucking happen. But
Right.
but just for I don't know if we're able to go. Are we able to do that?
And if you don't take him down, he takes your belt. That's
We probably could. But let's talk after the podcast.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for coming on. to the podcast.
Before we close it off, I just want to
you have one more
say,
question?
do you have any last words you want to say for the people that are watching, for your fans? Anything, any news, anything?
Man, for me, I just want to say, I appreciate all the support, and definitely get on that NPC Fitness app. Maverick Protein's coming out, and just message me if you have any questions or concerns on how you can get yourself some products. And big thanks to you guys. Check
No,
out
of
my guy,
course.
Johnny Hills, and check out my
Hines.
guys at the podcast here, man. Really appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, no,
Appreciate you,
thanks.
man.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Oh, the VR thing. Yeah, you ever tried VR?
Yeah, virtual reality.
The last thing, if you're up to it, we have this boxing game.
tired, man.
Okay.
Want to do this bullshit.
No, dude, fuck. You want to try it? I did a Lincoln commercial, and it was all VR. It was fucked.
No
I
fucking
swear to
way.
God.
So you see what's going on, right?
Yeah.
All right, in the front of you, does it say start match?
Do I never get any buttons or not?
No, you just hold it.
Just punch, start match.
You hold it.
Got you.
Yeah. Okay.
What the fuck?
Be careful,
Just look. No, watch your step, man.
There's no screen we can see.
Okay, the footwork's there. The footwork's there.
Okay, easy. Oh, wait.
Oh, you're good.
You're gonna get knocked out. You're gonna put.
You just get knocked. You said 450. I'm sure he's gonna come in here tomorrow and see you.
Except to your right. Yeah.
If you step out too far, you'll go back into reality.
To the right. Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah. You're good there.
Oh, now. This is the best I've seen. I love it.
Yo, he has balls, man.
Yeah, you gotta play that back for.
Bro, that's so fucked. I've never done that in my life.
Yo, isn't it a workout?
It's a fucking workout.
Bro, I put my gym membership.
You bring it.
No, honestly.
Pull it out, bro.
Was it actually realistic though?
Bro, what?
Yeah?
Bro, that's like
For a VR game.
But yo,
for a
you know
VR
what?
game, that's like as real easy as it gets.
It's probably hard to knock him because you had an expert, no?
This guy is an expert.
It's on the most realistic, so.
Oh, is that what it is?
Like you're sweating, no? Yeah, right? Fucking crazy.
Now or Never podcast. Make sure you guys check them out. Adam Maverick signing out.
I really appreciate it.